So, Mr. and Smith, we trapped you, right? Like 1 hour after you reached the hotel, you still have to go to the festival and to discover how Limbo Festival is, but it's really a great pleasure for me to spend a little bit of time talking with you because, well, first of all, I saw you zillion of times ago in Bologna at a club called Link.
Oh, Link, yes, I remember Link.
Okay, perfect. You do remember that.
Oh,
and
yes.
I was really surprised because my first thought was, damn, this man knows how to spin vinyls. I wasn't expecting that, honestly speaking, because it's quite rare to have DJs that have exceptional technical skills. Mm-hmm. You are one of those.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I like to play vinyl. I mean, in the days of Link, it was only pretty much vinyl anyway, wasn't it? I think it was going back a long time.
Maybe CDs were
CDs, maybe CDs, yeah. But now I still kind of prefer to play vinyl. And I know I do bring like a digital backup in case things go wrong, because things can go wrong with vinyl these days, especially when most sound systems are not set up for vinyl like they used to be back in the day. So you have to have a backup. I mean, I have various things I do to fix the turntable, like the things that go underneath the feet in case there's vibration.
Yeah, it's like marble and stuff like that.
Well, I can't carry that with me on the aeroplane, unfortunately, but I would if I could. So yeah, I have various things I do if there's problems with the turntables, but sometimes because the turntables aren't really used that much, they're not always kind of kept up to date or serviced. So sometimes they literally don't work. So I have got backup of digital. Most people, don't really care. They just want to hear tunes. But I just prefer using vinyl. Really, it feels better.
Is it a matter of sound? Is it a matter of habit? Is it what?
It's just the medium that I prefer to use, really. I can't, I know you can technically do what I do with digital, especially with Serato and stuff, but I didn't really want to bring a computer with me and stare at a computer half the time. So I can't really it's just me. I can't do what I do with vinyl, with a CDJ. I know you can do it, it just doesn't feel right. It feels too technical and I don't like it.
But I mean, were you into turntablism when you were young?
Yeah, I mean, I came up, I got into music in the late 70s, showing my age. So I was kind of, when I got into music, it was a mishmash of punk, new wave, reggae, and club music, which was disco.
And soul.
I wasn't into Northern Soul at the very beginning, actually. That was something I kind of found out about later on. I mean, I knew about Motown and 60s Soul because I used to be a pop DJ and just used to play pop records. So, which is a great place to start, to be honest. So I kind of knew about lots of different music, and I was never particularly into one thing. I was never going to be, a mod or a heavy metal kid or even when hip hop came along, I loved hip hop, and that came along, that blew my mind. But I still was into other things as well, and obviously hip hop sampled a lot of other kind of styles of music, so that got you into different stuff that was sampled. And I've always kind of kept that ethos of liking a lot of different stuff. I mean, and even now, if I don't play like different styles of music in the same set, I don't think I've done what I really should be doing. I mean, having said that, I do. If I do a Northern Soul night, if I do a reggae night, I can go deep into those.
You have to, otherwise they're going to kill you, because the audience sometimes in these niches are cruel.
Yeah, they know what they want. But I think when I do an Andy Smith kind of across the board set, people nowadays, they just like a lot of everything. They're on Spotify putting this together with that playlist and putting that, and so I'm happy to play a bit of everything.
What about the crowd in front of you? Because at the beginning, let's say in the 80s, I guess there was a certain kind of crowd with a certain kind of taste. Today, I think things have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
You're not 100% convinced, or maybe you want to be diplomatic.
No, I mean, it depends where you play, what crowd you play to. The thing I always say is when I became a professional DJ, I mean, I was earning money before, but what I would say, like in '95 when I started working with Portishead, and I was touring the world, and then I was going out as the club DJ and doing the radio shows and everything. In those days, I could take a bag of records and people would be interested in what I had to play and were there to hear what I had to play. And although that does happen at some gigs now, you also get people demanding to hear this and demanding to hear that because they're used to social media where they just scroll to the next one because they don't necessarily like that one. It's gone to another and goes to another. So you do get the audience. I guess, the audience has got more access to stuff now than they did then, maybe. So I think a lot of them think, that they should be choosing a bit as well. Which can be, I don't know.
There's a maybe, there's a should be.
Well, yeah.
There are some twists in what you're saying, actually.
Yeah, and it depends where you play and what crowd you play to, so it can vary.
What about being a professional DJ? I guess that was a huge shift in your life. I mean, were you expecting that?
No.
And then when it happened, how was it like?
Yeah, I mean, I'd always wanted to DJ, and it was always a hobby. Since like 79, 80, when I'd do kids' parties with two hi-fi systems next to each other with my friend. I never thought I would just be doing that. So I got a job in a hi-fi shop, first of all, actually, which didn't last long.
It makes sense.
Yeah, but it didn't last long. Then I got an office job. I worked in an office, it was only like every month or so I'd do a DJ gig with a friend of mine, just helping him out. And it was always a fun thing to do. And I still bought records. I couldn't stop buying records because I had the bug for that. And then I obviously met Jeff Barrow from Portishead, and that's the time when he was sampling records, like on the first album, and he didn't really have anything to sample, and I had loads of stuff, so I used to give him crates of things, say, do you know that, maybe you don't know that. And some of those tracks became on the first and second album. And then he always said, when I create this big band, because Beth wasn't even there then, there was no singer then. When I create this band, you can be the warm-up DJ.
Yeah. You can do something. Yeah. I owe you something.
Well, yeah, but I didn't ever think, I know he was a talented bloke, but you never know what's going to happen, whether things are going to come off as you expect or not. But he did make this album that was massive, and true to his word, asked me if I would go on tour with him, and if BBC wanted a Portishead mix, it's like, well, Andy will do that, or radio station in America, Andy will do that. So I was doing all these crazy mixes as Portishead mixes rather than my name. I was working in a record shop for a while then. I did a few jobs, and I remember this Dummy had just come out, and I remember being asked to go on the first it was a European tour with Portishead first of all, and I remember asking my manager at the record shop whether I could take off 2 months to go touring in Europe because of this band Portishead that he knew about because we were selling loads of copies.
Sure, it was super famous at the time.
Yeah, they were. So and he said no.
Really?
So I was like, well, by then I got to go then, really. So yeah, and I was even like literally before I left, I'd have calls in the shop, and it would be clubs around the country. Actually, it was HMV I worked at in Bristol, and then we were phoning up HMV and asking if they could book me. So I was actually taking bookings when I was working at HMV. So I felt like I could probably keep it going even if it was for a few years. I didn't know how long it would last, but then it subsequently went on to people wanted me to do compilation CDs, and then I just kind of managed to keep going. I've never completely shed the Portishead name. It's always kind of, but that's because nothing I did was ever bigger than Portishead, and I realised that. But I've always liked lots of different kinds of music, and I think that's why Jeff kind of wanted me to do my thing with the band. He wanted me as a DJ representing Portishead to play, obviously hip hop. We were into hip hop. That was our main thing, and I used to love cutting up hip hop stuff. But he would be happy that I would play Jimi Hendrix in the middle of the set, or the Beatles, or crazy Led Zeppelin, or I think I got Led Zeppelin with me tonight. Actually, just play some crazy stuff. He didn't want it to just be like a dance DJ. He wanted me to take stuff from everywhere and put it into a mix. And I thought that was the best way to represent what Portishead were about, really, because there was different members of the band were into different stuff. Sure. And I like to think I was kind of putting everybody's influences kind of into a melting pot and giving people a DJ set. It confused people sometimes.
Well, as far as I know, Geoff is quite an opinionated guy, or at least that's impression through the social media.
Yeah.
You know that. And at a certain point it was quite ironic because Portishead were stopping in a way. They were like quiet. And you were playing all around the world. What did Geoff say about that?
Jeff didn't really ever mind. It was me that minded more than him, really. I felt bad about it. which and it was me that said, make sure you put X Portishead.
Sure.
It wasn't him that said that, because they reformed for a while and they were doing they did a few shows a few years back. So Portishead as an entity was a live thing that I was no longer part of, because I stopped working with them at the end of the 90s. So it was me that wanted to put X. If you're going to put Portishead, put X Portishead, because I don't work with them anymore. I wouldn't want anybody to think I'm part of the setup now. And then Jeff never, and nobody else in the band. I saw Beth last week. She don't really care, I don't think. Well, I don't think they care. But like I said, I've always tried to shed it. Like for example, in Ireland was one of the places where, like a long time ago, even in the early noughties, they were like, well, we don't have to put Portishead on the flyer anymore because people know you for what you do, and they don't. I don't think they tend to put it on anymore. Maybe they do get that. But there was a long time when they didn't use the Portishead thing, which I was happy with, really.
Sure. Yeah. Today, what kind of music do you play? Is it still, well, obviously it's still a mixture of everything and whatever, but are you more into older stuff, or do you like to mix, or are you just going for the latest releases?
Well, if it's like, if I'm doing my gigs fall into two categories these days. I do DJ Andy Smith gigs.
Okay.
Where I'm kind of putting myself across in the history of what I've done. And it is mainly old music that I like. And I know that kind of jars against other DJs I play with, because they might just be playing new stuff. I do play some like disco-y house stuff, because I've got this brand called Reach Up Disco Wonderland I do with a friend of mine.
Exactly.
Where we play, disco tunes that we re-edited into house style. So, that's kind of newish kind of vibe, and the thing that's big in the UK. But in general, I try and find new music that I like, that fits in with old music, but I find it harder to do that now. But then the other type of gig that I do in London, say, is when I'll play in a swish fancy bar.
Okay.
And nobody knows who I am at all. And don't care who I am. I'm just the guy in the corner who's playing records and looks cool. So when I do that gig, because they usually have CDJs as well, and often the people are a bit younger, I will play like a real cross-section of stuff, because I'm not really there representing me, although it's me there, nobody knows. So, I've been known to play like modern R&B and like Afro beats and all this kind of stuff, and just put it, I like mixing tunes. So I like to mix from an Afro beat tune into a old hip hop record, and then a pop record, and then an R&B, and just mix stuff up. So I think if you go into a bar where it's a cross-section of people that are not really there for the DJ, I think you can get people who are into lots of different stuff. So I think that should be what you play.
I'm stunned. What's this lack of ego? You're supposed to be a DJ and you're supposed to be full of ego. Like all the DJs are maybe. You know they are.
No, I've never really been like that. No, it's not me.
But you've seen colleagues of yours.
Yes. Yeah.
And
there are some who are a bit like that, should we say? Yeah, I can't name anybody.
You're so damn diplomatic. What are you expecting from this night? You've been booked by Limbo Festival, and I guess you've checked what this festival is, and what are you expecting?
I've got no idea till I get there. The only thing is that I realise is that I get booked to play in Italy so much now. I probably play in Italy just as much as I do in the UK. In fact, my agent says I should get plays here. I'm in Italy like this weekend, next weekend, and the weekend after, and again next month.
And you played also at the New Year's Eve in Carpi, for instance, like a couple of years ago.
I did, yeah. I think that was when it rained a lot.
Yeah.
So, I assume people must kind of know what I do now, because I've been here so long.
Why is it happening? Why do we love you so much?
I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. I'm not quite sure, but it seems to work what I do. I do. It's weird because I do the odd gig in Germany or France or Ireland, but Italy like all the time. Mm-hmm. But that's great. I'm happy to be big in Italy.
Maybe it's just because we've tested you, and once again we noticed that you know how to DJ, which is not that. We shouldn't take it for granted. Because the former DJ from Portishead, whatever, okay, he's gonna play all the tunes from the band and that's it. And suddenly you discover that this guy knows how to rock a dance floor.
Yeah, there's still people who think that I'm, after 28 years of being Andy Smith as a professional DJ, they still think I'm gonna play, down tempo, trip hop stuff, which I don't really. Well, it's not really party music. I mean, I
never did,
sometimes I'll
actually.
finish. No, yeah, I never really did. I used to play some Portishead tunes. Like at the end, I might finish with a Portishead tune because I know some, people want it, and it's a nice tune. Sometimes a nice tune to finish with. I used to play some unreleased Portishead beat stuff in amongst the hip hop sometimes. Oh, Ian, can I speak for Jeff on this? Probably can. What people don't get is that we were into, hip hop, like mainly New York hip hop at the time.
East Coast.
Yeah,
more than West Coast, I would say.
Yeah. We were into East Coast hip hop, and then obviously the stuff came from West Coast later on, which was big as well. But it was East Coast hip hop and soundtracks and crazy jazz records, and funk, funk sample funk tunes. We weren't into like the stuff that came after Portishead that it sounds like Portishead. That came after our original, what we were into. So there was the odd thing I might like a DJ Shadow record. I think that's pretty good.
Sure.
But a lot of it was just a bit generic, slow loops, and I'd rather listen to DJ Premier instrumental. It's better to me. So
I back on this. What about jazz? Because we've never pronounced these words so far, which is quite bizarre. There's an element of jazz in Portishead's music. Adrian Utley is a great jazz guitarist, originally speaking. What about you? What about your relationship with that kind of music?
Oh yeah, I love jazz. I've got a load of jazz albums. I got a lot of jazz 45s actually. I got quite a big jazz 45 collection. I'm not sure if I'm rolling with much jazz tonight, but like when I do these bar gigs in London, for example, I'll definitely hit the jazz, and even like Latin and salsa a bit, and just
all this
crazy stuff,
dancey stuff.
Yeah, party stuff. It's good fun.
Do you know anything about Italian music?
I got some Italian soundtracks.
Oh, Ennio Morricone, obviously, Piero Umiliani, Piccioni.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's a lot of the deeper stuff that I've probably not found, but yeah, I mean, I've found some great stuff over the years, yeah.
But do you feel that there is something specific in the music that Italian composers do for soundtracks, or is it whatever?
I think back in the day, it had something about it, yeah. And there was probably more stuff, 60s and 70s with that edge. I mean, there was some stuff from America as well with that, and some from the UK. But yeah, there were a lot of things from Italy, I think, that just were a bit edgier. Is that the right word? I think it is.
Yeah. Last question. Usually you play in clubs or bars, as you said before, but tonight is going to be different because we're up on a mountain, surrounded by woods, trees, and whatever. Is this going to affect your selection?
Depends how windy it is.
That's a good point.
I've played at a few places where the slit mats start flying up. So now I have to bring, I use 7-inch slit mats as well, and 7-inch butter rugs underneath. Yeah. So sometimes if the 12, because what I prefer is a 12-inch butter rug. This is getting a bit technical. A 12-inch butter rug with a small slit mat on top. But sometimes if it's too windy, that will start coming up and knocking the arm. So then I got to take that off and put the 7-inch one, and then you're usually all right. It depends on wind.
Okay, that's the best answer I've ever got from a question like this.
Good.
Andy, thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers.
And enjoy your stay here.
Thank you.